All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to demystify some of the most important, and let's be honest, sometimes confusing, words in the English language, modal verbs. They're tiny little words, but they have the power to change the entire meaning of a sentence.
I love this way of thinking about them. Modal verbs really are like a linguistic Swiss Army knife. You can pull out one tool to talk about ability, another to ask for permission, or a different one to make a guess. They're incredibly useful. But here's the catch. You've got to know which tool to use for which job.
So that's the big question, right? How do you get from feeling confused to feeling confident? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to give you the tools and the confidence to master this really essential part of English. So let's start with the basics.
Okay, so what are these things really? Modal verbs aren't the main verb in a sentence. Think of them as helper verbs. They're not the main course, they're the seasoning. They work alongside the main verb to add a specific shade of meaning, like ability, permission, or obligation.
So these are the heavy hitters right here. Can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, and would. And you'll notice have to is also on the list. Now technically, it's a bit of an outsider, not a pure modal, but it behaves like one so often, especially when we talk about obligation, that we have to include it here.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Oh no, grammar rules. But I've got some great news for you. While their meanings can be subtle, the grammar is actually super simple. Think of these next few slides as your universal user manual. The same rules apply to every single one of these verbs.
There are just 3 golden rules. That's it. 3 things to remember. First, the modal verbs themselves never ever change their form. Second, they're always followed by the most basic form of a verb. And third, making them into questions or negatives is a piece of cake.
All right, rule number 1, this one's a lifesaver. These words are always the same. It doesn't matter if you're saying I, you, he, she, or they, the modal stays the same. You never add an S. So it's always she can swim, never she cans swim. So simple.
And rule number 2, this is a big one, a really common mistake to watch out for. After a modal verb, you always use the verb in its simplest form, without the word to. We call this the bare infinitive. So you say you must study, not you must to study. Just the pure, basic verb. No to allowed. This is a huge one to remember.
Okay, we've got the instruction manual down. Now for the really fun part, choosing the right tool for what you want to say. Let's open up that Swiss Army knife and see what all these different blades and gadgets can actually do.
Let's kick things off with obligation. The difference here is so important. Must usually comes from inside you. It's your personal drive. I must finish this today. But have to is about an external rule, something someone else is telling you to do. We have to wear a uniform. It's not my feeling, it's the company policy. And then should, that's much softer. It's really just good advice.
Now, this is where it gets interesting, because your choice of modal totally changes the social vibe. When you ask for permission, can I is casual, something you'd say to a friend. May I is much more formal, perfect for a business meeting. And could I is just a super polite way to ask. On the flip side, for prohibition, mustn't is the strongest. It's like a big red do not sign. You mustn't touch that. It's a serious rule.
Okay, on to ability. Can is easy. It's for right now. She can speak French. Could is for the past, but, and this is a really cool detail, it's usually for a general skill you used to have. When I was young, I could run a fast mile. But if you're talking about succeeding at one specific moment in the past, that's where was or were able to comes in. Everyone was able to escape. Means they didn't just have the ability, they actually did it. They succeeded. It's a subtle but powerful difference. You can also use modals to be a detective, making guesses based on evidence. Your choice of modals shows just how sure you are. If you've got strong evidence, you use must. The lights are on, the music is playing, they must be home. You're about 95% certain. If you're not so sure, you go with might, may, or could. That's your 50-50 shot. And if you're pretty sure something is impossible, you use can't. He just ate a huge lunch. He can't be hungry again.
So far, pretty much everything we've looked at has been about the present or the future. But now we're getting to what I think is their most amazing feature. I like to call it the modal verb time machine. And this is where they show how incredibly flexible they are. You might think you need a totally different modal verb to talk about the past, but you don't. The magic isn't in changing the modal itself, it's in changing the verb that comes right after it. Look at this, it's amazing. If I say to you, you should tell the truth, I'm giving you advice for right now or the future. Simple. But what happens if I say, you should have told the truth? Whoa,
the feeling completely changes, doesn't it? It's not advice anymore. It's a criticism. It's a regret. It's looking backwards. That one tiny change, adding have told, flips the entire meaning of the sentence.
So here it is, the magic formula for your time machine. It's your modal verb plus the word have plus the past participle of the main verb. Words like told, seen, finished, gone. That structure is how you unlock the past. It's how you express regret with should have, talk about a lost possibility with could have, or make a deduction about something that already happened with must have.
So, what's the big takeaway here? Understanding these verbs isn't just about passing a grammar test. It's about decoding the subtle layers of meaning, the intentions behind what people are actually saying to you.
So think of this as your complete toolkit. You've got your tool for obligation, your tool for asking permission, for talking about skills, for making smart guesses, for forbidding things, and for discussing possibilities. Really getting a handle on these is going to make your communication skills so much more precise. And that's really the heart of it all. They're just small words, I know, but they are absolutely mighty. When you start really paying attention to them, you start to hear this whole other layer of certainty, of politeness, of attitude in every single conversation. So, I'll leave you with a little challenge. The next time you're in a conversation, or listening to a podcast, or even watching a movie, just try to notice the modals and ask yourself, why did that person choose must instead of have to? Why did they say could and not can? You will be amazed at the hidden meanings you start to uncover.